Okay, so today's lesson is going to be on digital technology. Okay, so I'm sure a lot of you have. So I'm sure a lot of you have had a lot of exposure to using digital technology, and you're using it today in order to be able to have these MUS summer camps with me and with all the other teachers that have been running your sessions in the previous weeks. So inshallah, we'll learn a little bit about what digital technology is during this session. So for the session today, I'm going to be leading it. So my name is Sister Nadia Shah, and there's also somebody that's joined the session as well called Sister Andali Braza, who's going to be supporting me with this session, okay? So next week when we have the creative session, inshallah, Sister Andali will be leading that session, and I'll be supporting the other session. So you might have some you might be hearing both of us sort of contributing to the session as well as all of you. Okay, so the session today is going to be on digital technology. Okay, so I'm going to run through what that is, but before I do that, I'm going to start off with the short dua, which is just essentially Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, because it's always good to start everything you do with a dua, isn't it? Okay, so we'll start off with the short dua. So I want everybody to join in their own homes and start off by saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, which is in the name of Allah, the Beneficent and the Merciful. Okay. So the next thing I wanted to do is to wish you all Eid Gadir Mubarak. You know, we're really, really lucky to be having this session on such a beautiful, beautiful day. You know, it's one of our most important Eids, Eid Gadir. Does anybody here want to share with me? You can unmute your mics if you want to do that. You know, does anybody here know what Eid Gadir is and just wants to share with us as what it is that we're exactly celebrating today? Okay, so Sirat wants to. I'm gonna.
Eid al-Ghadir is the day when Imam Ali announced, Prophet Muhammad announced Imam Ali's wilayah.
Exactly, so it's when Prophet Muhammad announced that Imam Ali al-Islam was going to be the next leader after him. So the Prophet said, Man kuntu mola fahaza Aliyun mola, which essentially means whoever I am his leader, Ali is his leader. And on the same day, a couple of verses were released, a verse was released for the Quran in Surah Maida, ayat number 3, and it was where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, today I have perfected your religion and completed my favor upon you, and I have satisfied that Islam be your religion. Okay, so it's such an important event because essentially it shows us that the Prophet ﷺ left us somebody to guide us after the Prophet ﷺ, and that was Imam Ali al-Islam. So Imam Ali al-Islam became our wali. Okay, so it's such a beautiful and important day for Shia Muslims in particular. So I want to say a huge congratulations to all of you, and Eid al-Ghadir Mubarak to all of you. And hopefully, I hope you can all see this poster in the background. Hopefully, later on in this session, we're going to be using a digital technology software that I'm sure you've all come across before, called Microsoft PowerPoint. And inshallah, I'll show you how we can create posters very similar to this. And inshallah, we can create a poster together. Okay. So moving on to the next slide, which is going to be essentially ground rules, and I'm sure you've all been following these ground rules already. Okay, so ground rules usually for any online classes is try to be on time, respect one another's opinions. Everybody's got very, very important opinions to share with one another. And when somebody is sharing their opinions with one another, just have that respect, be polite and listen to what others have to say, because you'll be very surprised that you might learn lots of new things from other people, and including teachers. So although I'm leading this session, it doesn't mean that I know everything about digital technology. I'm sure you as youth know a lot more than me in lots of different aspects of technology. And I'm really willing to learn from you today, as well as the other way around. Hopefully I can teach you something as well, okay? Hopefully I want you all to join in all the activities. So we've got a couple of activities which we're going to do in today's session, and inshallah you'll all join in with those activities, and you'll all enjoy those discussions and activities that we do. Because we're recording this session and we're talking all about digital technology, we're going to be talking about online safety as well. It's really important that you turn your videos off, because you don't necessarily want to be sharing you know, an image of yourself, especially since this recording is going to go onto YouTube, which can be accessed by lots of different people. Okay, so try and keep your videos turned off. If you want to join in the discussion, like Sarah did earlier on, just raise your hand, and as soon as you raise your hand, I'll ask you to unmute your mic, and inshallah you can join the discussion. If you're not speaking, please keep your mics on mute, because otherwise it's going to get distracting for everybody else. But Brother Imran reassured me that you're a really, really good class of people, and he's had no issues with that at all. So I'm sure we're not going to have any issues in this session either. And also, like you're already doing, if you've got any questions or you want to contribute to any discussions, but you don't necessarily want to unmute your mic and speak, then feel free to just chat in the chat box, and inshallah I'll try and keep on top of what's happening in the chat box, or hopefully Sister and the Lead will be able to also point me in the direction if I miss anybody's questions or discussions. And the other thing is complete your homework, but there isn't really any major homework with this session. I mean, you're all on a summer break, hopefully, so it'll be a bit unfair for me to give you homework. But the only thing I want you to, inshallah, do after this session is all of the things we've talked about and some of the additional things that we've learned how to use. I want you to just go away and explore those. And it could be that some of those things you already know how to use, and it could be some of these things you can teach me how to use them better even, okay? But just go away after this session and just explore some of the technologies we've talked about, and especially Microsoft PowerPoint at the end. We're going to create a poster together, inshallah, but hopefully you can also go away and create a poster yourselves next. Today we're going to create a poster on Eid al-Qadir, but I think next Friday Eid al-Mobile is coming up, so it'd be really, really great if some of you could create posters, and inshallah in the next session hopefully you might want to share some of the posters that you've created with everybody else, just so we can see how creative you've been using some of this digital technology that we're going to be utilizing today. So before I carry on now, after the ground rules, I just want Sister Andalib, inshallah, to unmute her mic and just say salams to everybody as well, because I know she's going to be supporting the session, so it's good for you to be able to hear her voice and see who she is. Oh, I think she's disappeared. Not sure why, but she's disappeared. But if she comes back, I'll ask her to unmute her mic and say salams to everybody. Okay, so moving on to the next slide. This is going to be essentially what the lesson plan is going to be. Okay, so today we've already started off with a very short dua, which was Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We've discussed the ground rules. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about what digital technology is. We're going to talk a little bit about online safety. I've got a little video for you to watch where you can learn a lot more about online safety. We're going to discuss social media, and especially because a lot of you, if you're saying you're 14 years old, I'm sure a lot of you are using social media already. And so it's interesting to see whether it can have any positive effects in our lives and the negative effects on our lives. So we'll discuss that as well. And then I'll highlight some of these Islamic websites and mobile apps that I use, but also I want to hear from you with regards to some of the Islamic apps and websites you guys use that helps you with various different things in your day-to-day life. And then finally, we're going to look at PowerPoint, which is essentially a presentation software. So I'm sure, so can everybody just type in chat for me, have you all used PowerPoint before to create presentations or posters or anything in your schoolwork? Yes, so Aliza says she has used it. Sirat has used it as well, okay. And Nabi has used it as well. So what about Zahra? Zahra, have you used, yes, so Zahra. So what have you used PowerPoint for? So you say you used it, what have you used PowerPoint for? School, but what specifically have you done with it? Okay, so Zara says she's used it in school, but do you want to elaborate on that, Zara? What specifically have you used it for in school? I'm using it right now, aren't I? I've created all of my slides on PowerPoint that inshallah you can all see. So we use it most of the times for projects and research excellence, Zara. Okay, so yeah, we use them a lot of the times to make presentations. Okay, so it's a really easy to use. I would say I've used it quite a lot, but I would say quite a easy to use software where you can make really beautiful presentations to help you, really beautiful slides to help you present a specific topic that you're going to be discussing with either in school or at work. So I'm a lecturer, so I use it quite a lot within university to lecture my students. You know, pretty much a lot of the studies that they do is, you know, they receive a lot of their education through lectures. Okay, so I tend to use it quite a lot, but a lot of you have used them in school for projects, research, and to make presentations, and it's a really valuable resource to use. So inshallah we'll learn a bit more about how to make effective presentations later on, and also we'll see whether we can create a poster using it as well. Okay. And then finally, we're going to be looking at feedback. Okay, so inshallah, with all of these sessions that have happened, oh, excellent. So Nabiha said she actually used PowerPoint yesterday to make, was it to make a presentation on Eid al-Qadir? To make a presentation, I think, on Eid al-Qadir. Nabiha, do you want to unmute yourself and just share with us what you used PowerPoint for yesterday?
I made a PowerPoint yesterday, and I told the information about Eid al-Ghadir, and I told that when the event took place and all the information about it, and what the Holy Prophet said about Imam Ali alayhi salam the day of Ghadir.
MashaAllah, that's amazing. And who did you present that to? Did you present that to anybody?
No.
No, you just made it for the fun of it. Excellent. That's such an amazing thing to do, mashallah. And inshallah, you know, somebody else can, you can share that presentation with other people, and they can inshallah learn all about the event of Eid al-Qadir from your presentation. So that's an amazing thing to do. Okay, so inshallah we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. So right at the end, obviously with all of these summer school workshops, it's really valuable for you to give us feedback on the sessions, and I'm going to leave a feedback link for you at the end. I'll put it into the chat so that you can access it right at the end, just so that you're able to provide us feedback so we can improve for future sessions, or you can tell us what you liked or you didn't like necessarily about the sessions, or how we can improve them, and that'll be really useful for us as the people that are leading these sessions, to help us improve for the next time. So that'll be really valuable. And then if you've got any questions, then again, you know, you can ask them at the end. But I'd like this session to be interactive, okay? So, you know, if you do want to talk, put your hand up, and you know, unmute your mic, and please feel free to share things with us. There's going to be discussion points at some point during this session, and I do want you to be you know, to interact during this session, because it gets a bit boring if one person like myself is talking to you all the time, and especially if something I'm trying to teach you probably already know about, and it'll be nice to get your insight on some of these things as well. So don't necessarily wait until right at the end of the workshop before you share your thoughts and your questions. Feel free to put your hand up during the workshop, and you know, we can start discussion points throughout our workshop as well, okay? So inshallah that will happen, and then right at the end, inshallah, we'll end with another dua, okay? Because it's really important to start and finish anything with the dua. Okay, so moving on, so that's the lesson outline, okay? So what does digital technology mean? Okay, who can tell me what they think digital means? What do you think digital means? Who wants to share? Oh, thank you, Nabia, for sharing your Eid al-Gadir presentation. Inshallah, I will download that later and have a look at that. Electricity. So Aliza says that digital means electricity. So definitely equipment that uses digital technology has electricity running through them, and you need that electricity for these things to work, definitely. Anything else? What do you think digital means? So Aliza said to us that it means electricity. So I've actually got this definition for you. So if you can see on this PowerPoint slide, I've actually got this definition telling you exactly what digital means. So it's basically, this definition has been taken from a dictionary, and it essentially says that it's when you use a system that can be used by a computer, for example, or it could be using other electronic equipment as well. So definitely using electricity, in which information is sent and received in an electrical form. So when we talk about digital, that's what we mean. We mean essentially using a computer or any other electronic equipment where we send and receive information in a digital electronic form, okay? So what sorts of things then do you think, what sorts of things use digital technology? What sorts of equipment can use digital technology? A laptop, excellent, Zara. A laptop, definitely. So I'm using digital technology right now, as of some of you guys who have all either got a laptop or a computer or some sort of smartphone or a tablet in front of you to access this session. Okay, so a laptop, definitely. Anything else? What else is digital technology? What digital technology do you use on a daily basis, for example? So I've asked that question here at the bottom. What sort of digital technology do you use? So Zara says she uses a laptop. So automaticity, automatically even. So what do you mean automatically, Aliza? What do you mean by that? Do you want to unmute your mic and just explain what you mean by that?
It works automatically.
Okay, yeah, so something might work automatically. You might still need to switch something on, but it tends to have a lot of smart technology involved with digital technology these days, doesn't it? So it's very easy to be able to use digital technology. Excellent, Elisa. What else? What about Sierra the Nabiha? What sorts of things do you use? What sorts of technology do you use on a daily basis, other than a computer or a laptop, that you think utilizes digital technology? Your phone, Aliza, excellent. So do you all have a smartphone? Do you, because if you're 14 years old, I'm guessing some of you might do. So just write in the chat box if you have a smartphone. Yes, so Zara has one. Aliza, I think, has one. Anybody else? So Zara and Eliza, so Sirit doesn't, okay, so that's fine. I didn't get my first phone, and back in those days, they weren't smart technology, so they were quite, they were known as bricks. And my first phone was actually, so Nabiha and Sirit, they don't use smartphones, okay, that's fine. But I'm guessing you use a tablet or a laptop or something like that, okay, or a computer. So yeah, I use my smartphone. I got an iPhone, but when I was your age, I didn't have a phone either. In fact, it was, I think, when I turned 17 and I got myself my first part-time job when I started college, and that was the first time I saved up and bought my phone myself. And back then they weren't smart technology, so it was a Nokia phone. This day you'd call them brick phones. But they're very, very robust phones. You could throw them around anywhere and they'd still work. Okay, so so phones. So Zara and Eliza use digital technology through their phones. Okay, anything else? Anything else that you might? And there's a picture on my slide actually that might give you a clue about some of the other things that you might use, other than a computer that we've already mentioned. We've already mentioned smartphones, we've mentioned tablets. Okay, what do you think this big thing is over here? So if that's a computer, that's a tablet, what do you think this big thing is here? And I'm sure every single one of you probably uses that, possibly on a daily basis. Okay, so Sirit says we are 3 sisters and we have a laptop to share. Excellent. Sharing is a good thing. When I was growing up, there were 7 of us. So I have 3 sisters and 3 brothers, and we had 1 computer to share between us. So we had to make sure we had a rota. You know, if we all had homework, for example, where we could share that adequately without any issues. So an iPad, okay, so that's the tablet, excellent. So Eliza's using an iPad. What is this one last thing on this picture that I think every single one of you probably uses on a daily basis, that is not a computer, not a phone, not an iPad, but I'm sure every single one of you probably, if I say watches this, that'll give you a big clue. So, does anybody? Television? Does everybody watch TV? Yes? No? Do you want to let me know in the chat? Do you all watch TV every day? Or, yeah, exactly. So your TV uses digital technology as well, doesn't it? So so Sirit does not, mashallah, that's great. So you're not wasting time on TV, alhamdulillah. And Nabiha doesn't really use. So do you watch any sort of shows or anything at all? What do you use? Do you use your computers to watch that, or do you use tablets, for example? Because it's very easy to access a lot of TV on your tablets and your iPhones these days as well, isn't it? Okay, so these are some of the digital technologies then we probably use on a daily basis. And I can honestly say that I probably use every single one of these, okay? So I use my iPhone every day. I use my laptop and tablet every day. And I watch TV, but I tend not to watch TV either on the TV downstairs in the living room. I do tend to sometimes watch it on my laptop or on my iPhone. Okay, but Nabiha likes to listen to online majlises with her mum. Excellent. I like to do that with my mum as well, mashallah. And inshallah in a few weeks time there'll be quite a few majlises for us to listen to, because Muharram will be starting soon one day. Okay, so excellent. So we all use digital technology daily. Okay, so judging from some of your responses, I know that every single one of you uses digital technology daily. So this thing on this slide now is what some of the things I use digital technology for. Okay, so I've mentioned already So I'm just sorting out the chat box. Okay, so I've mentioned already that, you know, I'll use a lot of things like the smartphone, my computer. I watch things on the TV, for example, or I watch things on my smartphone or on my computer. Okay, so I use a lot of these digital gadgets like the TV, the smartphone, the computer software. I also use a digital camera sometimes, and often you can use cameras attached to your phone as well, can't you? And that sort of allows you to take pictures as well. Okay, so some of the other things that I tend to use technology for is, for example, I tend to go on the social media. So I use my laptop or my smartphone to access social media and to access mobile phone apps, so mobile apps. So does anybody else access social media or mobile apps? So I'm guessing the two that had, so Zahra, is it Zara and Aliza? Do you, yeah, so you access social media and mobile apps, right? So if you have a smartphone, it's very easy to do that. Okay, the other thing I tend to do, something that maybe Nabiha might you know, do if she uses a computer to live stream certain things such as Majalis, is using video streaming, for example. So a lot of Majalis these days have been uploaded onto YouTube, for example. Okay, and YouTube is very free to access by everybody, and it's something that I tend to use quite a lot to listen to lots of different scholars that you know, I enjoy listening to. Okay, I access the internet almost daily, and I'm sure a lot of you, especially for your schoolwork, you might need to use the internet quite a lot. And especially in this day and age, with the COVID pandemic that's happening, I also nowadays, because we're in lockdown, and especially where I'm living at the moment, in a town called Accrington in England, we've actually been put under a local lockdown because of the COVID cases and stuff. So we're having to stay in our homes and not really meet many people. And as a result, I tend to not go shopping to the supermarket anymore. I tend to do a lot of my food deliveries via online delivery. Okay, so I access the supermarket's online delivery service, do my shopping online, and have that delivered to me. Okay, in the days where I did used to go to the supermarket, you know, if I didn't want to wait for the long queue at the cashier, I would access the self-service machines as well. So that's another thing that uses digital technology. I'm just gonna allow Gulizara to enter as well, because she's been waiting. Okay. Assalamu alaikum, Gulizara. It's nice to have you with us. So we're talking about digital technology today, and at the moment I'm sharing with some of the other sisters you know, what sorts of digital technology I use, okay, on a daily basis. Okay, so online shopping, and again, not just from the supermarket. You know, there's a lot of things that you can order via Amazon or eBay, or a lot of other or a lot of other shopping you know, websites, on online shopping websites as well, and they all can deliver it to you, okay, when you just buy them online. The other thing I tend to do is I tend to do a lot of online banking, or visit the ATM to withdraw cash, and they use digital technology as well. Cars, yeah. So you know, if you know, you go with your parents in the car, you'll recognize that there's a lot of technology incorporated and embedded into a lot of vehicles. So transportation uses a lot of digital technology as well. And then finally, education and profession. Okay, so do any of you recognize any of these sort of logos that I've got in this speech bubble in relation to education and profession? Do any of you recognize anything? If you just want to respond in the chat box to see, let me know whether you recognize any of these logos. So WhatsApp, so where are you seeing WhatsApp? So I can't see, can I see it? Yeah, I can, yeah. So WhatsApp is here, isn't it, in the mobile app? So I'm talking about the education and the profession one, okay? So this one's not the social media, not the mobile apps. I'm talking about the education and profession speech bubble here. Do any of you recognize any of these logos in this education and profession speech bubble? But yeah, you're right, Eliza, the WhatsApp is here in the mobile apps, and Twitter is up here in the social media. Okay, so Class Dojo, Sirith has mentioned Class Dojo, so that's this one in the middle, isn't it? Zara has mentioned LinkedIn. Can you tell me what LinkedIn is, Zara? What is LinkedIn? If you want to unmute your mic and explain whether you use LinkedIn or whether you know what LinkedIn is. You're right. So you don't know, but you've heard of it, okay? So LinkedIn, so does anybody else know what LinkedIn is? It's all right if you haven't, because it's a professional website, okay? So I expected you to know this one, Class Dojo. And again, I think some of you might have used this in some of your MUS Madrasa classes. And I know this one as well, Purple Mash, is especially in the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of the schools in the United Kingdom have used this digital software platform to share work with the students, to allow them to work from home and to communicate with their students via this social platform as well. So this education and social platform called Purple Mash, and they sort of communicate with their students. So it's a bit like Class Dojo, okay? Whereas this one, LinkedIn, is a professional website, and it's something that I use quite a lot. So I've got a LinkedIn account, and on there I've got almost like a CV. So I've got a background on sort of my educational background, my work background, and it's essentially a professional networking site. Okay, so you put your information up there in terms of your profession and your education and what experience you have. And you connect with other people in the same field, for example, and you might even be offered jobs. So I know a lot of some of my friends who have got their profiles on LinkedIn, and they've actually been approached by headhunters who have been looking around for somebody suitable for a particular job in their firm, and they've actually been contacted on LinkedIn by these various sort of headhunters for potential job opportunities. And I've also been approached as well on LinkedIn. People can send you a little message and sort of share with you various jobs that you might be interested in based on your professional profile. Okay, so that's what LinkedIn is, and it's really useful to connect with people in your field. So I'm guessing in the future, when you all sort of finish school, college, university, and you enter your first jobs, it might be something that you're interested in sort of putting some of your information on there to try and sort of see whether there's any jobs offers or whether you can network with anybody. Okay, so these are some of the areas that I use quite a lot in my life that involve digital technology. Okay, so these ones specifically here, I'm going to mention, because these ones are the ones that I want you to sort of recognize that we're going to talk about a little bit more during these sessions. So we're obviously going to look at some websites today, some Islamic websites, and I've got a couple of videos that I'm going to stream for you through YouTube, okay, to get an overview of certain topics. We're all using computers today, or some sort of technology to sort of be able to communicate online. Okay, I've got my laptop out, and today hopefully we can access some software such as PowerPoint that I mentioned earlier on, to sort of talk a little bit about how to prepare presentations on PowerPoint, and also to talk about how we can prepare certain sort of posters using PowerPoint as well. Okay, so we can have a go at doing that. We're going to talk a little bit about social media, and because we can access social media via the smartphone, we're going to also talk about mobile apps as well. Okay, and because we're on this educational workshop where I'm learning from you as well as you guys are learning from me, inshallah, I've left this one here as well, because we're obviously going to get educated to some extent today as well, but we're going to inshallah gain some more knowledge some knowledge that we didn't know before, and also we can share our knowledge with each other, inshallah. And I've learned already quite a lot from all of you already. Okay, so let's move on then. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you this online safety sort of clip. It's about 8 minutes long, and it talks all about online safety, because today we're talking all about digital technology, and a lot of us use the internet quite a lot. It's really, really important that we're able to remain safe on the internet. And you might find that some of these principles might be explored in you might think that it's sort of focused in on children that are younger than you, but there's a lot of important points that you can take away from this presentation, and we can hopefully discuss that later on. So I'll play this clip in a minute. I just want to double check with you that you can all still see the screen. Can you all still see the screen, and is it clear? So can you see the full PowerPoint screen before I play? Yes? Excellent. Okay, so Lisa said yes. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play. And as soon as I start playing it, can you all let me know whether you can hear it as well? Thank you. Can you hear that? No? So none of you can hear that. Okay. Have you all got access to the internet then? Yes, you've all got access to the internet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this clip, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this link with you in your chat box, and I want you to all, inshallah, access it on your internet devices and watch this clip for the next 8 minutes. Okay, so I've just okay, so somebody said if I'm using headphones, you can't hear. So I'm going to pull out my headphones, inshallah, and see whether that's any better. So I'm going to play it again, if you let me know whether you can hear it or not. So you can hear it now, excellent. So go back to slideshow, and I will play it. So you can all hear it now?
Hi, Alex. What are you playing?
I'm playing World Jam. It's an online game that you can talk to other people around the world, where you can trade animals with costumes and play games together.
Oh, that sounds like fun. But your friends don't know who you are on it, do they?
No, they don't know who I am.
Alex, do you know that the internet sometimes isn't safe?
What do you mean?
People can figure out your name and find you and steal your information.
How do I stay safe?
Don't give out any personal information. For example, don't use your name or phone number or address.
Okay, that's a good idea. I'll change my username in the game.
What is your username?
Alex All Animals Soccer 77.
Honey, that tells people an awful lot about you. That has your name and your school. How about we change it to something less descriptive? What about Soccer is Cool 77?
That's a good idea.
Ask your parent or guardian before downloading games or making profiles. Do not use personal information when making a username or naming characters. For example, Alex All Animal Soccer 77 says a lot about you. Instead, Soccer is Cool 77 does not reveal your name or location.
Since we're talking about safety, let's talk about using a secret word. This word will be used for emergencies, so our friends and family will know the secret word. If there's ever an emergency, you can ask them what is the secret word, and if they know it, then you're safe to go with them.
Okay, so what's the secret word?
Well, we made spaghetti and meatballs tonight, so how about meatball?
Oh, I love meatballs. That will be easy to remember.
Set a safety word with your parent or guardian for when you're going to be picked up places. Do not go with anyone who does not know this safety word.
Hi, do you like playing this game?
Yes, do you?
Yeah, my name is Riley. I'm in the 5th grade. What's your name?
My name is Alex. I'm in 5th grade too.
This game is so much fun. I love it.
Me too. I'd rather play this than go to school.
Oh, why not?
Kids in my class are sometimes mean to me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I would never be mean to you. Where do you go to school?
All Animal Elementary. I'm the only sheep in my class.
I'm a sheep too.
It was nice talking to you. I have to go. Talk to you later.
Do not reveal personal information to strangers, including your phone number, name, birthday, or where you live or go to school.
Hey, tomorrow is picture day. I think your wool needs a trim.
I don't want to be made fun of by kids at school tomorrow.
Just a trim, I promise.
Okay.
Haha, your haircut looks dumb.
Hey, that's not very nice.
So, everyone thinks it.
My friends here are dumb. My online friend would never make fun of me and would understand. Maybe I'll talk to Riley tonight on World Jam. You won't believe what happened today at school.
What happened, Alex?
How do you know my name? Did I tell you my name?
Yeah, you told me before when we were playing the game. It also was your username when we first started playing this game together. But never mind that. Tell me, what happened at school today?
My mom cut my wool too short, and the bull made fun of me in front of everyone at recess.
Wow, that bull is really mean. I know how you feel. My mom has buzzed my wool too short many times. You know, Alex, I would never do that to you. It seems like you need some better friends.
Do not open up about personal struggles or problems to people online. Remember that people are not always who they say they are.
I have some other friends on this game. I could introduce you to them and we could all chat together.
I guess that would be okay.
Hey everyone, this is Alex, one of my new friends. What do you like to do?
I play soccer in the park on Saturdays,
Oh, sounds like fun. What time are the games?
usually in the afternoon. Hello? Are you there?
Remember that anything you post online can be accessed by anyone, even if it appears to be a private website or profile. Once you put something online, it is permanent and stays there forever.
I have to take your brother to the bathroom. Please stay right here. Don't talk to any strangers. Remember the safe word.
Hi, Alex. How are you?
I'm good. How do you know me?
Riley told me you play soccer here.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to practice with me before your game starts? This is a great spot to warm up at the other end of the park.
I don't think that's a good idea.
It's okay. Your mom won't mind. I know that you play for the all-animal elementary team. You hate haircuts and you're number 77, right?
Do you know the secret safe word?
Sunshine?
Nope.
Popsicle?
No.
Do not meet up with someone in person that you met online before talking with your parent about it. If you ever feel uncomfortable or in danger, online or in person, tell a trusted adult. For more information, go to ferris.edu/cybersafe.
Okay, so did you all manage to hear that video okay then? Yes. So did everybody manage to hear that video okay? Okay, so we'll move on to the next slide where we discuss, inshallah, some of that that video and some of the things that were discussed. Okay, so what were some of the things that the little kid or the sheep, for example, the little lamb, was doing that might have made him unsafe when using online technology? What were some of the things that he was doing that would make him unsafe? So again, feel free to unmute your microphones. So Lee's is written, so telling his name and his school and where he played football exactly. So what was he doing? He was sharing with somebody who he didn't really know who that person was, just somebody who's gaming with online, and he was sharing with that person his name, his school, and where he plays football. So so locations where he should be safe, and this person wasn't necessarily who he thought he was. He thought it was potentially a friend. And it wasn't a friend. Okay, it could have been somebody who could have done him quite a lot of harm. Okay, so he was a wolf in sheep's clothing, essentially, wasn't he? So anything else?
We should not tell personal information.
So what was that about personal information? So I think you said you should never post on personal information. That's right. He was having his personal information, yeah. Anything else? Anything else that he was doing, or not necessarily he was doing wrong? Other people were doing wrong. So he went to the school at one point and he met a little bull. What was that bull doing that wasn't very pleasant?
He was being rude.
He was being rude. Yeah, he was being nasty, and that can potentially lead to something known as cyberbullying, isn't it? So if he's being rude to him in person, then maybe using online platforms and social media, for example, he might continue being mean to him online using social media sites. Okay, so this whole concept of cyberbullying, it makes a lot of people and a lot of young people quite depressed and unhappy quite a lot of the times.
And the wolf online was being rude to the sheep.
Yeah, the wolf.
He lied.
Definitely, thank you. Yeah, so the wolf was being mean and he lied. So lying is a bad thing, but that a lot of people don't recognize, and a lot of young people don't recognize, especially young lads that maybe, or even young girls that like gaming, computer games, and think they're gaming with the people who are safe, but these people might potentially groom them into a false sense of security, pretend to befriend them, pretend that they're the same age as them, and encourage them to meet up with them after school, for example, and then they show the reality. They're actually not the young person, friendly person who they thought they were. They're somebody else who can do them quite a lot of harm and damage. So in that sense, what did the little lamb and the parent of the little lamb, the mother, what did she do to try and help protect the little lamb from a situation like that? Can anybody remember?
She told him for a special word, and then if they don't know that special word, then don't talk to them or play with them.
Excellent, and that's very, very important. Thank you, Elisa. That's very important that you have some sort of a safe word with your parents, okay? Because in a situation where somebody who might pretend to be a friend of your parents, that you come out of school and they might tend to say to you, your parents couldn't make it down to pick you up from school today, and they've asked me to pick you up instead. Now, if you have a safe word with your parents, you will know that your parent would have shared that safe word with that friend of theirs. If that friend doesn't know the safe word, then you should not go with them, okay? Because again, you're potentially putting yourself at risk, okay? So it's very important to have these sorts of things and use these sorts of things to help keep yourself safe online. So I'm sure all of you use the internet. And I've listed some of the things that I pulled out from the video here. So some of the things that we've already discussed about. So things like never post personal information online. So the little sheep did give away his personal information, which was wrong of him to do that. Send messages only to family and friends. So you might use things like WhatsApp, for example, using your smartphone. Don't befriend everybody on WhatsApp. Don't befriend everybody on things like Facebook or Twitter. Yeah, be careful. Excellent. Yeah, definitely you need to be careful, and only really chat to people and send messages to people who are definitely your friends and who your parents have approved and who are your family members. But other than that, you should not be communicating with other people without your parents' prior knowledge of it. Okay, browse sites on the website that have been approved by your parents to make sure you don't get onto any websites that are a little bit dodgy, okay? There's lots of nonsense on the World Wide Web these days as well, and you don't want to be gaining access to those sorts of sites. So make sure your parents know what sites you're going on to. Keep your password secret. How do you make a good password? What should be included in a good password?
Not your name or where you live or like any personal information about you.
Perfect. Yeah. So no, not your name, not where you live, no personal information. And I want somebody else other than Eliza now to answer, because she's doing an amazing job and she's really interacting, and I wanted to continue interacting, but I also want some of the other people to also interact with me. So people like Nabiha, Sirat, I've got a Sid, Ashal Ahmed, is that right? And a Zahara. So
You should use some commas and different signs like percentage or any other signs which are not much common.
Yeah, excellent, Nabiha. So yeah, so use symbols maybe that are uncommon. And one of the things in the video that they said was maybe you want to use something like a phrase which it's not a famous quote, but it's a phrase that you might know, that includes things like symbols, that includes capital letters, small letters, and numbers. Okay, so there's a mixture in there, and it's highly unlikely somebody else will guess it. So be careful with how you set up your password and make sure they remain secret. Never share your password with anybody, not friend, no nobody. Maybe your parents, yes, but nobody else. Okay, don't download or purchase anything online without your parents' consent. Don't post any photos or any selfies without your parents' consent. Be respectful on social media sites like Facebook and Twitter. So don't ever cyberbully. It's not nice to be bullied in person, and it's definitely not nice to be bullied over the internet where you can't see the person who's bullying you. It's not nice to bully people because it can really, really cause them to become depressed and basically. So you wrote in green. So what did you mean by that, Eliza?
Because Instagram is one of electricity.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful of that also.
Yeah, definitely. Instagram as well, definitely. Thank you very much for that. Okay, and when you meet a friend, an online friend, if you're going to meet it, definitely tell your parents first of all, so they'll decide whether you can meet that person or not, and take your parent along with you. Never meet a person that you've met online on your own. Okay, because it might not be the person you think it is. So always share that information with your parents and listen to what your parents have to say. If they don't want you to meet that person, then you listen to your parents because they have your best interest at heart. Okay, they want to keep you safe. and limit the time you spend on the internet. There's lots of other things to do. Read a book, go for a walk, play a game, a board game, not necessarily an online game. Do lots of other things that you might be able to learn other skills that doesn't necessarily involve using technology. Okay, so it's nice to get away from technology, give your mind a bit of a rest, because too much technology is bad for you. You can get addicted to technology. And there's lots of studies being done that highlight that actually people that become addicted to drugs and some of the neurochemical transmitters that are released from your brain, because that makes you addicted to certain substances that are not good for you, those chemical substances also get released when you use too much technology as well. And that's why you find that you're addicted to your smartphone. A lot of people can't go a few minutes without their smartphone. It's very, very hard for them to put it down. So Nabia says, if you put your picture on social media, it will be taken by anybody. Excellent. Yeah. And that's what we don't want. We don't want anybody to be able to access our pictures, our personal pictures, because they can use it for anything, and they can do you a lot of damage. Okay, so excellent. So I'm really happy you took away a lot of positive things from that video, and I'm confident that you know how to be safe online. But one way in which you can be extra safe online is maybe draw up a contract which has all of these points on there, and show it to your parents so that they know what they need to be looking out for as well, so that they're aware of some of the things, some of the harms and dangerous things that might be able to get accessed online, and then write it into this contract form, and maybe you sign it and your parent signs it, to make sure that you both know what you need to do to make sure both your parents and you and the whole family is safe when using technology and the internet. Okay, excellent. So next we're going to move on to social media. Okay, so some of you said to me earlier on that you use social media, and I use a lot of social media as well. And social media, actually, if you think about what the definition of social media is basically websites and applications that enable us as users to create and share content, or to participate in some sort of social networking where we communicate with other people. Okay, so if you consider some things like Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, you're communicating with other people. So that LinkedIn that I mentioned earlier on, it's a way of you to communicate with other professional people. So all of these social media, I mean, the clue is in the name. It's you being able to socialize with people via media, okay, via technology and media, okay. And I was actually shocked when I did a bit of research on this, and I didn't realize so many different social media sites exist, but there's way more than 100 social media platforms that actually exist throughout the world. Okay, so there's lots of different social media sites that you can access. I've listed, well, I'm not listed, I've put a row of some of the logos of some of the common social media websites that I know a lot of the youth in the UK, and not just the youth, a lot of people in the UK and around the world use these social media platforms to interact with other people. Can anybody guess what these are as I point to them? Go on.
I know a couple.
Go on. Which ones do you know?
I know Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, TikTok, and Prentice.
Okay, so you know quite a lot of them. So if I point to them, you tell me which one it is. So I'm pointing to this one.
That is Twitter.
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Facebook.
Excellent.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Not sure about that one.
I think it's phone. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's. I'll come back to that one. What about this one?
WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Not sure about that one.
TikTok.
Mhm.
I have seen that logo, but I'm not sure what it's called, and I can't remember the name.
Okay, and what about this last one?
Prentice.
Yeah, excellent. So the ones that Eliza, is it Eliza? Yes, the ones that you couldn't. Eliza, sorry. The ones that Eliza couldn't get, can anybody else help her with them? So what about this purple one here that I'm pointing to at the moment? Does anybody else know what this purple one is? I mean, Eliza mentioned quite a lot. I think she got 7 out of the 10, so she covered quite a lot.
I know about only Snapchat.
You know about Snapchat? So you know this one, Snapchat, yeah? Yep, so this one was Snapchat. What about these two?
Yes.
Excellent. What about this purple one and this blue one that I'm pointing to? Anybody know what these are?
Teams?
I'm not sure about these.
No, it's not Teams, no. Okay, so what's WhatsApp? Who can describe WhatsApp for me?
WhatsApp is like a technology, like you text your friends or your family members or your cousins or like that, and
Yeah.
you like send emojis and stuff.
Excellent. So you can communicate with people by messaging, don't you? And you can also do video calls on it, and you can also do you know, set up groups, so you have your family groups on there, your
And
friend
voice
groups,
calls.
voice calls as well. Excellent. Yeah. And what these other two here are, so this one's called Viber, the one in purple, and the next one, this one in blue, is called Telegram, and they're very similar to WhatsApp. Okay, so there are other sort of platforms that are very similar to the way WhatsApp works. Okay, so that's what these two are, Viber and Telegram. But other than those, you've got all of them, which was absolutely excellent. And also, I think it was it Nabiha that kind of helped you out with one of them as well, with Snapchat. Okay, so who uses any of these social media platforms? You can write in the, if you don't want to say it out loud, you can write in the chat box.
I use none.
I use some.
So which ones do you use?
I use WhatsApp, TikTok, Printed, and YouTube, and sometimes Instagram.
Wow, so you do use a few, yeah? That's good. Anybody else use? Zara, did you say you, I think, was it Zara and Nibia that said that they don't really use a smartphone? So maybe Sarah, do you use any?
I use YouTube, but only for listening Islamic things and watching Islamic videos.
Okay. I'm just gonna let somebody else in.
Sometimes use WhatsApp, and I sometimes also use YouTube for some Islamic videos.
Okay, so who was that talking then? Sorry, I missed who was talking then. Was that
I'm Sir Fatma.
Sir Fatma, excellent. Okay, so some of you use some of these social media platforms. So if I think about the ones that I use, I think I use a lot less than Elise and some of you guys. The only ones I really use or know anything about, and this is probably showing my age, is Facebook. I use quite a lot. YouTube I use WhatsApp to communicate with family and friends, and I use Telegram because my Hausa lessons, you know, the content via the scholars happens via Telegram, so that's another one I use. So that's 4 so far, and those are the only 4 I use. I don't use any of the others. I don't know much about any of the others. So I use Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, and Telegram. Okay, so I think some of you use a lot more than me, and a lot of youth tend to know. My younger sister tends to use a lot more than me. I think she knows about all of the rest of these that I don't necessarily know about. But there's so many different social media platforms out there. You know, some, you know, lots of beneficial things you can do with social media platforms, but then there's also some not so beneficial things. So these are some of the beneficial things that are highlighted in this table, and I'm just going to run through this. And if anybody wants to comment on anything, feel free to again message in the chat or unmute your mics and join in the discussion. So some of the positive things about the effects on using social media within I've written within the Muslim society, but it's not just within the Muslim society. It can be some of these are within lots of different societies as well. But I want to focus on some aspects within the Muslim household. Okay, so we tend to be a very social bunch, don't we? Islam encourages us to be social, and it's encouraged to go and visit your family and your friends and sort of sit down and socialize with them and share food and things like that. So you can also, in situations like we are at the moment, social media platforms are a godsend because, you know, a lot of us might be in lockdown because of the COVID pandemic. Okay, so we can't necessarily go out and visit our family and friends, but we can interact with them through social media platforms. So that's really good. You know, we can give them a call, a video call via WhatsApp, for example. You can talk to somebody who's in a different country via Facebook or Twitter or the sort of social media platforms, so we can interact with family and friends. Okay. We can also be aware of different things, okay? So different awareness campaigns or advertisements for different things, like somebody's trying to sell something, they can advertise them, for example, on one of these social media platforms. Halal entertainment. So by halal entertainment, I consider, for example, a lot of scholars use these social media platforms, and we can learn a lot of things through them, and they often post a lot of video clips, don't they, where they teach us about our faith, and that's really, really beneficial for us. Fundraising opportunities. I know a lot of friends who actually, and I think you can via Facebook and a lot of the other social media platforms, but you can actually start donating money to a lot of worthwhile causes using social media. Okay, so a lot of people in many parts of the world that are maybe not as privileged as some of us, that live in a very poor countries that don't often have access to food, water, shelter, and a lot of very good people set up lots of charity campaigns on these social media platforms where we can donate to these worthy causes. And a lot of organizations, a lot of sort of, different types of organizations, whether they're TV channels, whether they're universities, whether they're schools, supermarkets, they all tend to have social media pages now, okay? And often they can even post things that might be of interest to you. For example, job information for job advertisements can be posted on their social media pages. So it's something to look out for if you're looking for a job in a particular firm. To look at their social media page, you'll learn a lot about that company through their social media page. It's a source for lots of news and information, so that's very positive and beneficial. We can learn lots of things, lots of knowledge from social media platforms. So it enhances our learning and our education and allows us to research into lots of different topics. Another thing that I mentioned, and this is specific to the Muslim community, is we can spread ayats from the Quran. We can spread lots of different hadiths. We can forward on hadiths onto our social media pages, or lots of different Islamic references, and that can help teach lots of people about different things, about our faith. And we can also receive these, and we can see them on lots of other people's profile pages, and we can learn about lots of different ayats from the Quran, or lots of different hadith that we didn't really know about before, lots of narrations that we didn't know about, and that's really, really beneficial for us, isn't it? And then finally, we can use social media, for example, to listen to and attend Islamic lectures and classes. So we're using Zoom technology today to be able to access this MUS Summer Workshop, which is amazing that you can learn through this sort of platform. But also a lot of scholars will post things on Facebook, via Zoom. They'll set up things, they'll do it via Microsoft Teams, maybe they'll do it via Facebook, for example, or YouTube. A lot of their Islamic lectures, and especially now that we're in, again, this COVID-19 pandemic, if you can't go out to the mosque or the Imam Bargas to listen to the majalis that are going to be happening in a few weeks' time, because Muharram is going to be starting, then we can do that safely from our homes, because again, a lot of the TV channels use social media platforms as well. A lot of the Islamic TV channels to be able to broadcast majalis, jushans. There'll be a lot of jushans happening via these social media platforms. Has anybody heard any jushans for Eid al-Qadir via any online platform? Anybody heard any Eid al-Qadir sort of jushans online? There's lots of scholars that have so there's lots of scholars, for example, that are using Facebook or YouTube, where they've recorded, a lecture on Eid Qadir, for example, because it's Eid Qadir today, and it's available for us to listen to using YouTube or Facebook or various other things. So, it's something, if you haven't already accessed that, maybe check with your, check with your parents and stuff. So you listen to Nabiha, listen to one before class. That's excellent. It's really, really important, because a lot of scholars are using this technology to make sure that we can still access our Islamic knowledge. So it's absolutely amazing that you're accessing that, using these platforms, because it's really, really beneficial use of these platforms. And also there's various people that can teach Quran as well while via these social media platforms. Madrasa classes are happening via social media. Hosa classes are happening via social media, you know, as well as the majalis and the jashns and stuff. So, you know, we can use social media in a very positive way as a Muslim community to help forward our knowledge in Islam. Okay. So this next slide then I'm gonna, again, it's an interactive slide. This, hopefully we're gonna have a discussion on this. So I'm gonna read out this little scenario. So this is known as a digital dilemma, okay? So I'm gonna read out this scenario and then I'm gonna ask you 2 questions and I want you to discuss what you feel, how you feel you want to answer these questions, okay? So the digital dilemma is all about selfies. So first of all, what is a selfie? What is a selfie? Sorry?
A selfie is like you take a picture of yourself and like your friends or
Yeah, so it could be you taking a picture of yourself with your phone or you know, your tablet or something, or it could be that you're taking a picture of yourself with your family, or it could be you taking a picture with yourself and friends. Yeah, so I've got a little cartoon over here, haven't I? We're a group of friends. It looks like I've taken a selfie together. Yeah. Excellent. So this is a digital dilemma whether selfies are harmful or harmless. Okay, so I'm going to read out this little scenario for you, and then I want you to answer these 2 questions. Okay, so the scenario is that your friends are always trying to get the perfect selfie to post on social media. They follow a blogger who regularly posts pictures and live feed videos about their wonderful life, and the blogger always looks great and has successful and attractive friends and does lots of fun things and exciting things. Okay, so based on that scenario, do you think that this is, first of all, is a realistic situation? Does this sort of thing happen? Yes or no? And then let me know whether you think whether selfies are harmful or whether they're harmless, and why do you think that? Okay.
yes, because like sometimes people post it on Instagram.
Yeah.
And like TikTok and stuff.
And why is that bad?
Because people might see you and they might might see more information about you.
Yeah, exactly. So they might have access to your pictures.
Yeah, but otherwise it's like I have a TikTok account, but it's private, so only the people that knows me, I let them follow me.
Okay,
and
yeah.
Like,
so
I post on private, and I don't I give my information to the people who's relatives to me.
Yeah, so Lisa, that's an excellent point. So with a lot of these social media platforms, you can change your security settings, can't you? And you can make them private so that only people that you know can have access to the information that you post on your social media platform sites. So that's an excellent point there. And if you haven't, if you're on social media and you haven't already set your privacy settings to a secure setting where only your family and friends have access to it, then you might want to consider doing that. Sirat has also, Sirat Fatima has also said that she listened to Maulana Zaki Bakri whilst setting my cupboard. Okay, so but basically you're also listening to majalis or jashns using these digital technologies, so that's great. So does anybody else have any comments on that? So Eliza shared her thoughts on that. So she had some very important things to mention, that, you know, it can be dangerous if people have access to your pictures, but if you have a decent security setting, then people aren't necessarily going to have access to your images. So it could be harmful or harmless in Eliza's situation. Anybody else want to share anything via the chat or out loud? What about Zahra? Do you have anything to say? You can also write in the chat box if you don't want to speak out loud. What do you think about this particular scenario? Do you think taking selfies is harmful or harmless? So I want to hear from at least one other person before I give you my thoughts on this. So go on. Who wants to share?
I think it's both. Because like if you're not giving information, then I feel like it's fine, but also then it's not fine because people might know more about you, but like I'm not really sure because it's hard because like example Instagram, loads of people take pictures of themselves or stuff, so like it's hard to say if it's not appropriate, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean. So I'm conscious of the time, so I'm going to move on. But yeah, so you're uncertain whether it's harmful or harmless. So I'm going to give you hopefully a slightly different take on it using the next slide, okay? So I think that situation is definitely a realistic situation. And the reason why I think that is because a lot of people these days are obsessed over influencers, aren't they? So what do I mean by an influencer? I mean somebody who posts a lot of things about their life, about what they do on a daily basis on these social media platforms, and a lot of other people follow them. So these influencers could be bloggers, celebrities. A lot of people follow a lot of different celebrity culture, okay? And that I think can be damaging, okay? So the reason why I think it can be harmful is for different reasons, more, not just about whether other people have access to your images, which is bad in the first sense as well. It's definitely bad that other people, if you haven't got the right security settings, have access to your images if you don't want to share it with them. But I think it's bad because look at the whole term selfie. It's all about yourself, isn't it? Your focus is becoming about you and not other people. And it's really important within our faith that we consider other people a lot in our lives, whether we help other people, we consider, whether we're harming other people, and it shouldn't always just be about ourselves. The other thing that I think is harmful is a lot of people lose their social and physical hijab when they use social media platforms. So it could be that you wear your hijab, which is fine. But I know a lot of influencers that used to wear a hijab got heavily focused on beauty products, okay? So even though they would wear a headscarf, which they consider to be a hijab, they would wear makeup alongside that. And wearing makeup and beautifying yourself and then showing that to the public, where other people have access to seeing you in this beautified state, is not the correct physical hijab, okay? Communicating with other people. So there's lots of influencers now, who consider themselves to be Muslim, okay, and are Muslim, but within their social media blogs, they share a lot of things where they're interacting with the other gender in an inappropriate way, okay, so not in the right way, where they don't necessarily have the social and physical hijabs that's expected of us within Islam, okay? So that's another harmful thing for taking selfies. The other thing is the focus has become, when you take selfies, you could be in the most beautiful location, you've gone traveling, you've gone around the world, you're in the most beautiful beach, but you're not bothered about the beautiful world around you, but you're bothered more about yourself. So it's this shameless promotion of yourself again. You're focused on yourself and not the beauty around you, not the beauty that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created around you, okay? So you're living more for yourself and not for other things around you. There's also this thing about, people want to have this instant gratification, okay? So what do I mean by that is I mean that people want their needs to be instantly met. And when you see somebody like a vlogger or your friends even posting on these social media sites all about their daily life, and people tend to post all the good things that are happening in their lives. Not many people post the bad things that are happening in their lives on social media platforms. And when they do that, for example, they post about, the restaurant they went to and the food they ate, the different countries they've been traveling to, so they're getting to travel around the world. They're posting about the different things that they've bought, the materialistic things that they've bought. Other people are going to watch that, and other people are going to think, well, they've got a much better life than me. They've got access to, they can go out to all these amazing restaurants to eat. They can go and travel the world. They've got the money to do that. They've got the money to buy expensive clothes or materialistic things, handbags, cars, whatever. And then they want those things, so they want that thing instantly without necessarily having to work hard for it. Okay, so everybody wants that instant gratification of their desires, and those desires aren't necessarily the desires we need to be focusing on, because our purpose on this earth is to do the things that we do to seek the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we forget that when a lot of the times we're looking on social media, we're looking at what other people have, and when we see what other people have, often we start to feel inadequate. That might make you depressed because you think, well, why haven't I got those things? And you start to have this unrealistic expectation on your life and other people within your family. You start to maybe have arguments within your family because you're thinking, well, those people have got these things and I've not got these things. You need to work harder, for example, as my husband, to bring me those things. And you put unnecessary, unrealistic expectations on people, and you put other people under pressure, and people can become depressed with it. Okay, and that's not nice if you're the reason why that's happening. Okay, so that's another reason why I think selfies and might be quite damaging and harmful, especially in the way you use it in the social media context. And then finally, this point I want to mention is you live for the likes from others, and you forget about seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So again, we're on this earth to seek the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's our true purpose, to do the things that please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whereas if we're doing things where we're not focusing on our physical and social hijab, we're not pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we're making other people upset, or we're overspending and we're becoming greedy and we're obsessed with ourselves and not with helping other people, then we're not seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what we're doing instead, or we're getting happy when other people are liking our things. So, a lot of people might have posted something on social media and people start liking it or loving it and stuff, and it makes you feel happy. Okay, but are you pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And that should be the true thing that makes you happy, whether you're seeking that pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so this is why I think social media and selfies might be damaging sometimes as well. And these are some of the negative effects then of social media, again, within the society and within the Muslim society. So you can reduce real human contact. So we mentioned before, you might still be able to contact people in situations where you can't go and see them in person, but you're not really getting that real human contact. So that might be damaging, because we're social beings, we need human contact, right? It could be that, a lot of people are starting to bully you, cyberbullying from keyboard, warriors. We call people keyboard warriors if they're hiding behind their keyboards and they're writing lots of nasty things to other people. So they're essentially bullies online, aren't they? They're making people feel bad about themselves, and that's not a very good thing about social media. The other thing is where you encourage people to overshare about their personal lives. So it could be that on social media, if somebody's sharing something about their life, which is very private, you might want to share something about your life, which is meant to be very private. So you're oversharing about your personal lives, and that's never a good thing. You've got information at your fingertips with a lot of these online technologies, but do you have true knowledge? Do you have the wisdom to actually seek out what is true? What is the truth and what is the true knowledge, and not just lots of facts and information? And how do you know the facts and information you're being shared on social media are true things? It could be that it's fake news or it's rumor that's being spread. Okay, and how do you find out whether it is true or not? Okay, it can create problems for the workplace. So if you've overshared something, for example, or you've done something that's politically incorrect, it could be that somebody from your work has access as a friend on your social media platform, or your boss, for example, and they might not like what you've said on social media, and it could be a reason why you might get sacked from your job. Okay, and also if you've got a big digital footprint, so what I mean by digital footprint is you're using social media quite a lot for lots of different things, then one of the things that's going to be very problematic is if you go and look for a future job, it could be that your future employers that you've applied for jobs with have access to some of these social media profiles. Okay, so they can look at what type of person you are through your social media platforms, and they might not like what they've seen, because that digital footprint, once it's out there, it's there forever, isn't it? Very rarely you can get it back, because you don't know who shared what. Okay, so be aware of that when you're using social media. Only post things that are absolutely necessary and things that are important. You don't need to be posting everything about your life. Again, the poor social and physical hijab that I mentioned already. Increased social addiction and self-esteem issues. So again, it comes back down to the fact that you like what other people have, and you get addicted because you want to see more about what other people have, and then you feel worse about your own life. so you become depressed and you have low self-esteem issues. It could be there's a lot of bad people out there, so a lot of militant groups from other countries that might be trying to groom you on social media. They might message you on social media and they might try and groom you into their way of thinking. You know, a lot of people that do terrorism and things like that. So that's not good. You know, so you shouldn't really be talking to people you don't know. Comes back to the online safety. Distortion about facts about our religion, that's a bad thing, because you find that it's very easy for you to share, for example, a hadith, and you might, you know, somebody might have shared this hadith and say that Imam Ali al-Islam said this, and it's an hadith from Imam Ali al-Islam, but there's no reference there. Nobody cited where they've got that information from, and you've gone and forwarded it on, and then somebody else thinks that that was actually a hadith from Imam Ali al-Islam. How do you know that's the truth? Have you gone back to look for that hadith in the actual books of hadith? Have you referenced it? So you could be actually distorting facts. It could be that the Imam didn't say some of those things, but you're forwarding on those hadiths as if, you know, and you're assigning them to our beloved Al-Bayt al-Islam. Okay, so it's really important you double check these that before you forward them on. If they've got a reference there, double check that it's the right reference and it's definitely from those books. And if not, okay, Elise has got her hand up. Go ahead.
Like, I go on TikTok like mostly every day, but like I see like I follow people, but like because I like their videos and stuff. But like there's a home screen, and like then there's a videos of it, and then I like, because let's say there's a part 1, and I'm really interested of it. Is it like I like to find that video to know what happened. So is that fine to go like scroll it or not?
So repeat the last bit. I didn't quite hear what you said. So you like to like the video.
I like the video, and then I want to know if there's a part 2 out yet. So then I click on their profile and then scroll down until I find it.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a decent video and there's nothing wrong with you watching, you know, useful videos, you know, there's no harm in that. And, you know, and if you want to like it just because then that you'll get maybe a notification of the next video, that's fine, as long as it's a video that's, I would say, halal entertainment. You know, it's not something that you shouldn't be watching. Then I think that it's absolutely fine that you do that.
Like challenges and stuff.
Yeah, that's fine, but just be aware of some of the additional negative things that I'm talking about. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, distortions about religion and stuff, it reduces your learning and focus, because a lot of the people that, like I said, if you become addicted to social media, you become addicted to your phone, you'll recognize that every time you want to be clicking on your phone, you want to be looking at what's on your phone, you want to be looking what's on social media, and your focus isn't there anymore. Okay, so when your focus isn't there anymore, basically it's a bad thing, because you might not be focused as much on your schoolwork. You might start wasting time on social media. You might be supposed to be doing your work at work, but instead you keep checking your social media, and you're actually wasting time. And somebody might be paying you to go to school, somebody might be paying you to do a particular job, and you're not really doing that job very well because you're not focused very well. Okay, and that's because you've lost your attention span because of all this social media. And then the last thing, too much time is being wasted. Okay, so too much time is being wasted. And one of the things that I want to share about time being wasted is this thing here. You know, this is another hadith from Amir al-Mu'mineen Imam Ali al-Islam. And Imam Ali al-Islam has basically you know, said in Nadia Blogger, so hadith number 390, so I've checked that, but you can double check that because I've left the links there for you. And Imam Ali al-Islam says about time management in Islam, the believer's time has 3 periods. The period where he's in communication with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so where you're praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for example. The period when he manages for his livelihood, so when you go out to work or you go out to learn in school. And the period when he's free to enjoy what is lawful and pleasant. And by that usually is you know, if you are free, you've done your livelihood bit, you've done your ibadat and stuff like that, then, you know, when you've got a bit of free time, then make sure you spend it with your family and your friends, and in a lawful way, in a halal way. Okay, so that's one of the hadiths from Imam Ali al-Islam. So, you know, there's a big you know, reference there to good time management. Okay, so you know, if you waste that time on social media, then you know, then that's poor time management, isn't it? Okay. So these are just some of the things. So I'm going to list these, okay, and I'm going to move on from these very quickly. And obviously, I think you're going to have access to the recordings from this. So I want you to go away and I want you to look at some of these websites. But again, these are some of the websites that I use, some Islamic websites. So again, it's using online technology. It's using Islamic websites, and it's you know, very positive things on these websites. So some of these you might already be using. Things like the MUS website. So obviously you're all doing an MUS summer workshop. You're probably doing the MUS Madrasa classes. So that's the website there. Very useful website. The other one I want to mention is, you know, so Nadia says she checks alislam.org in her spare time, and that's an amazing website. It's got so many amazing books on there. So it's a very, very good website to check, Nadia. So I'm really, really glad you do that. So many amazing books on there for you to read and learn about your faith. Alabad TV, so that's the channel that does all of the broadcasting in English. So that's a very, very useful you know, online web page to look at. Al-Qisa Foundation, so again, it has a lot of information there about Islamic curriculum. There's lots of books there, there's lots of activities on there, so it's someone to go and look at. Another one would be Q Fatima. If you've not heard of that, I really highly recommend you go when you look at Q Fatima. It's got so much information there about educating people and educating youth, especially about the Al-Bayt al-Islam, about the Quran, especially. There's lots of activities on there about the Quran, and it's an amazing website for you to go and use. And then Islam from the Start, if you're a creative person, that's got lots of creative sort of inspiring ideas there. Dawaz.org is another one if you want to be able to remember certain dawaz or recite dawaz. It's a useful website to go on. It has a lot of the dawaz on there. Alislam.org has got all the books on there that are for free PDF versions, but also you can basically have this one here, which is a publisher which sells a lot of Islamic books, again in English. So there's a quite good website there, The Sun Behind the Cloud. Okay, so I'll try and post some of the links on the live chat afterwards, Nabiha, but I just want to move on just so we get through the rest of the slides first. But even if I don't manage to post them, then basically you can, all of this recording is going to go on YouTube. So you can definitely access the recording again, and you can copy the links down if I don't get a chance to do that at the end. Okay. And then this last one, I've mentioned Islamic and others. So this last one here is called Khan Academy. For some of you young people, this is a very useful website for you to go on. And I really want you to go away and explore that, because it's got a lot of information on there about sciences, about English, about maths, a lot of subjects, right from nursery age right through to you. Yeah, excellent, screenshot's fine. Right through to university age, where you can learn about lots of different non-Islamic subjects, okay, for your school, for example, colleges. So definitely have a look at this one as well. Okay. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was the mobile apps, okay? So depending on whether you use iPhone or whether you use an Android phone, so I have an iPhone, but lots of people use Android phones, then you might use a lot of mobile phone applications, okay? And an application is essentially a software that's been developed specifically to use on these small wireless computing devices, such as smartphones or tablets, rather than using them on your computer, okay? So, yeah, so basically, you know, if you might, you know, some of you that use smartphones might already be accessing some of these apps, okay? So can somebody that has a smartphone, can somebody mention some of the apps that they might have on their smartphone? Some of the Islamic apps that they might be using?
Can it be any apps or?
Yeah.
Nahjul Balagha in English.
Nigel Blog in English, amazing book with the letters and the sermons and the sayings of Imam Ali al-Islam. Absolutely amazing book. So I'm really glad you used that one. Any others? Okay, well, I'll share some of the ones that, sorry, go on, Nabiha.
Shia Toolkit.
Shia Toolkit, amazing, another amazing one, which has lots of duas on there, lots of prayers, ziyarats and things on there, and it's another one that I tend to use as well quite a lot. These are some of the other ones that I tend to use. Okay, so we've got this one called Quran Explorer. So I travel a lot on public transport, like the train, for example, to work. And when I do that, it's really useful for me to have the Quran Explorer on my iPad or my iPhone, because essentially I can have access to the Arabic scripture from the Quran. I can read the Quran. I can read the translation of the Quran. I can play some of the surahs from the Quran back to me. I can change which qari I'm listening to, because there's lots of different qaris on there, and it helps me to learn some of the Quran surahs as well, and it helps me to read, rather than wasting my time on the train into work. I've got an hour. Why not use some of these apps and start learning about my faith and stuff? So the Quran Explorer is one of the ones that I use quite a lot. The other one I use is this one called Shia Companion. And again, this is a very useful app, because it has a calendar on there that has all of the important Islamic dates on there. So if you log into the calendar, it will tell you that today was Eid al-Ghadir. It also has lots of supplications and ziyarats and du'as. It tells you about different prayers. It tells you your prayer times, so you can set your prayer times on there. It has a compass and a tasbih on there. It has very specialized prayers that you can do, like your night prayer, Salat al-Layl, and it tells you exactly how to do that. And it has the nice tasbih counters on there that you can access. So it's a beautiful and very easy to use app there. And the final one I want to mention that I use is duas.org. So duas.org website has all these amazing duas on there that from our Al-Abad al-Islam.
Photoshop, mix,
What was that?
and
Okay, so, and it's another one that I tend to use. Okay, whenever, again, I want to read a dua or I want to listen to a dua, then I'll access duas.org on my phone, and you can basically read it in Arabic scripture. You can also read the translation, and you can also, if you can't read the Arabic scripture, you can have the transliteration version as well. Okay, so it's a very useful app to use. And then the other thing that I want to mention to you, and I want you to explore these in your own time, is, so how many of you here have been on ziyarat? Has anybody been on ziyarat before? Have you been on a pilgrimage to visit the shrines of that beloved Al-Abad al-Islam? Anybody been on ziyarat before?
I go.
Okay, where have you been?
I went to Iraq.
You went to Iraq, so you went to the shrine of Imam Hussain al-Islam?
Yes, I went on Arba'in.
MashaAllah, that's amazing. So for those of you that haven't had a chance to go yet, and those of you who have had a chance to go but realize, especially because of the COVID pandemic this year, a lot of us won't be able to go during the first 10 days of Muharram, a way for you to still...
I use the first link to explore the Haram of Imam Hussain.
Amazing. So do that again. If you click on this first link, it takes you straight to like a tour version of the shrine of Imam Hussain al-Islam. So you can actually follow the arrows, and then you can actually go into the Haram of Imam Hussain al-Islam. So I really, really think that you should actually go and utilize this. Especially during Muharram, it'll give you the opportunity to still visit the shrine of Imam Hussain al-Islam, but do an online ziyarat instead. So definitely go and visit that one. The other one to go to is this visit to Iran one, which also has it has access to Google Earth sort of maps around the shrine of Imam Ali Rida al-Islam, and around the shrines of Bibi Masuma Qum that are both in Mashhad and in Qum in Iran. But then it also has one for the shrines of Imam Hussain al-Islam as well. So definitely, again, visit your ziyarats through these online ziyarat tools, okay? And the other place to go to would be, has anybody used Google Earth before?
Yeah,
I tried, but I couldn't.
a little bit.
Access.
A little bit, so somebody's saying a little bit. So again, if you click on this link, Google Earth, and you enter So you launch the app. It takes you into basically you know, anywhere you can go on the globe. Okay, so you can click on the search box, and again, go away and look at this. Click in the search box wherever you want to go. So for example, if you want to visit the Khana Kaaba in Mecca, you can type that in, Kaaba, Saudi Arabia, and it'll take you straight there, and it'll allow you to actually access you know, that particular site and stuff. So it's another really good website. And you can also, there's a little pin, a little person that you can drag to the street view, and it allows you to it shows you that you're standing there right in front of the Khana Kaaba. So it's a beautiful, another beautiful app to use. Okay, so another one for you to go away and explore. Sorry?
Can you please post the second and third link?
Post it, yeah. Just come out there. So I'll try and post all of them.
I need to fly because I have my cousin over.
That's fine. So this session will be getting recorded, okay? So you can catch up on it later, even if you can't stay for the rest of it. Khadafis, thank you. It was really nice to meet you.
You're welcome. One question. Are you going to teach us every week now?
No, I'm going to teach. I'll be here next week, but there'll be another sister that's going to be running that class mainly, but I will be there as well for that session.
Okay.
But I really was here for the digital, but I will be here next week as well, inshallah.
Okay.
Khadafis. Okay, so I've posted those for you in the link. Okay, so go away and please explore those apps, because they're absolutely amazing apps to have a look at. Okay, so the final thing I want to do in the last 15 minutes or so is I want to basically go through PowerPoint with you. So some of you were saying to me that you've already used PowerPoint before to do various presentations. And so I want to hopefully show you know, you some interesting things about how to make a good PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so let's go through the first bit fairly quickly. Okay, so PowerPoint, professional software used to create presentations, but also posters as well. Okay, and how do you make a good presentation? Okay, so I would say when you're making a presentation, you need to do some of these things, and you need to do some of these things for a good presentation, and for some of these things, if you do them, they won't be so good a presentation. Some of the things I would avoid is things like too many transitions or too many animations. So can you see throughout my presentation, I didn't do any of this. Okay, whenever I switched onto a new slide, the information was already there. But some people like to use these animations. Can you see how that poor clip art just came in when I clicked it? Because I've used animation there, this little image. So that's an image of a poor clip art, a poor image. It's not a very nice image, that one. You see how slowly this image is protected under the copyright laws, come on. Okay, so some people use too many of these animations and they can get distracting for people. So I would say limit the amount of transitions and animations you use. If you're using images, make sure they're good quality images and make sure they're not protected under copyright law. So by copyright law, I mean somebody who made that image owns that image. And unless you ask for their permission and they grant you the permission, you cannot use the image, okay? So a good presentation, therefore, would be if you use public domain images that don't have a copyright on them. Okay, so images that are available freely that don't have copyright on them. And you can go into Google and you can do an advanced search. So if you look for images in Google and you click on the advanced search option, it allows you to actually click down and only find images that are freely available to you. So you can actually do that in the advanced setting of Google. And so if you do that, then that's one way of finding free images that are available to you that are not copyright. You can always create your own images. You can use something that I've done throughout this presentation where I've signed up to a photo agency, a stock photo agency that has lots of different images on there. And I've paid a subscription fee. And that allows me to utilize those images because I've paid for them. Okay, so that's where I've got a lot of these images that I've put on my presentation came from this vectorstock.com where I paid for these images, okay? And it can be a nominal fee and it could be that each image ends up costing you $1 or £1. So not very much, but it's a way of you making sure that you're using images that you can use that have not got copyright issues, okay? And if you do get permission from an artist, okay, you manage to get in touch with the artist and they allow you to use their images, you often have to attribute that to the artist. You have to always cite them or reference them on your slides to show that, you know, that they were the artist. So a lot of the artists expect you to do that to publicize their work for them, okay? So that's, if you're doing a good presentation, you make sure you can only use images that do not have any copyrights attached to them, okay? So the next slide is this one. Always avoid large block text, because if you look at this now, you're going to start to read what's on there, because you're going to think that's important information that you need to take away, and you're not going to focus on what I'm saying, okay? So avoid large blocks of text in your presentations. Try to do everything in bullet points, and when you do bullet points, make sure you do these bullet points sparingly, okay? So, you know, bullet points only to give key information. Too many bullet points can be distracting. Make sure that you don't spend too much time on one slide. Try to have consistent lengths in your bullet points. So all of these are similar sizes, and have consistency in the display and the font as well. So that would make a nice looking presentation. The other thing you need to be aware of that would be a bad presentation would be the choice of colors you use. Okay, so if you look at this side on the left, the bad presentation, you can see that you can't really read these colors on these backgrounds very well. They're very difficult to read. They might hurt your eyes. So this red on the blue especially is really hurting my eyes, and it's not very pleasant to look at, okay? So make sure you use colors that complement each other, and you can use a color wheel for that. So if you look on the right hand side at the good presentation, it shows you that you can use monochromatic colors that are all one color but different shades. That will give you a good, nice contrast on your slides. Analogous colors that are sit next to each other. You can use these color wheels that show you complementary images. So the colors opposite each other are the ones that often complement each other. So you can use complementary colors that will complement each other, or a triad of colors that also complement each other, okay? So make sure you really look out for colors that go well together and not ones that give you a sore eye like that. And then also, for a bad presentation, you need to avoid different font sizes, okay? It's always important to maybe stick to the right size font, 24 point or more maybe, you know, so it's nice and big and people can read it. Make sure you stick to one font style. So you might have noticed throughout my presentation, I tried to stick to one type of font style. I didn't keep changing between different styles. And I didn't change the background on my slides either. So all my slides were very consistently similar in their design. If you change suddenly, like in this particular image here, where I've suddenly changed the background slide to, that, you know, it looks different compared to my other slides, then that's going to look a bit odd in my presentation. So try to be consistent, okay? So if you do the opposite of all of those things, you make sure that you have a font size of 24 points or more, a font style, you know, that's a good font style, that's nice, clear, sans surface sort of types of scripts, a consistent slide design, and then you can put these relevant graphics that you can put in through PowerPoint. You can add pictures either online or from your computer screen, from your photo albums. You can add various shapes like I've been doing throughout my presentation, like up here, various icons or models, smart art to help you present things in a better, clearer way. And I'll show you smart art in a little while. And then also charts. If they're relevant to your presentation, then why not use them if it helps to explain things? This is where I've used smart art to help identify the fact that, you know, it could be that you make the most beautiful slides in the world, but, you know, your slides are not everything, you know. Try and make nice, clear slides, but also make sure that it's the presenter that makes or breaks the presentation, okay? So make sure that you're a confident presenter. Make sure you know your audience. Make sure you know your topic well, and make sure you prepare for your presentation and practice so that when you come and stand in front of somebody, you're able to deliver it in the way it should be delivered with the right purpose in mind, okay? And, you know, I used smart art to help create this process image over here. Okay, so that's ways in which you can make a nice presentation using PowerPoint. Okay, so finally, what I want to do, and I'm conscious that I'm running out of time. So what I'm going to do is I've got a little clip here that describes the Eid al-Ghadir event for you. And rather than playing it, I'm going to actually, again, I'm going to copy it into the chat box, and you can access that in your own time and have a look at the event of Eid al-Ghadir in a bit more detail. But what I do want to do is I want to quickly, inshallah, in the next 10 minutes or so, go through showing you how you can make a nice poster using PowerPoint, okay? So earlier today, I made this poster, okay, which I shared with you before at the start of the presentation. So can you all see this poster, Nabiya and Sirat? Can you see this poster?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So give me some feedback on this poster. Do you think it's good? Do you think it's clear? Or do you think there's anything that could be made more clear? Or is there anything that could have done better on it? What do you think of this poster?
I think it's good, but the Eid al-Ghadir Mubarak should be in another font.
Okay, so you think Eid Ghadir Mubarak should be in a different font, okay? That's fine. And what about anything else? So this is when subjective things. I thought personally I like that font, but again, different people have different opinions, and you're completely entitled to your opinion. So it could be for other people this font maybe doesn't look as good as I thought it looked. So that's absolutely fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hopefully go on.
I think that Eid al-Ghadir Mubarak's 18 Zulhajj font would be changed.
Okay, so you think this font should be changed. It's slightly difficult to read that font. I agree with you. That's absolutely fine. So what I want you to do, inshallah, is I'm going to show you briefly how I did this this presentation on the next slide. And what I want you to do, inshallah, is maybe before the next week's session, try and use PowerPoint. If you have access to PowerPoint, try and use PowerPoint to maybe create your own poster on Eid al-Mabahala. Okay, and it'd be really, really good to see the creative ideas you come up with. And you might have already used PowerPoint to make posters, but hopefully I'll be able to share some tips with you in terms of some of the techniques that I use to make my posters. Okay. So Nabiya says she's already watched the clip today on Eid al-Ghadir. That's amazing. You seem to be really on top of your Islamic knowledge and things. So that's absolutely amazing. Okay, so what am I gonna do? Okay, so can you all see this blank screen? Can you see the blank screen? Nabiya and Sirat, can you see the blank PowerPoint screen? Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, and can you see the blank screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes,
okay.
I can hear you.
Thank you. Okay, so we've got this blank PowerPoint thing. One of the first things I did is, can you see at the top here, the insert button? I went to the insert button and I found on the insert button, I found a clip, an image on Eid Ghadir. Okay, so this was the image that I found. So I brought that into the image and I sort of pushed it to the one side, okay, so that it was on one side of the screen. Then what I did was I cropped this image and I cropped it to a certain shape. So you can go up here and you can go to click on the image and you go on format. And when you go on format, over here, you've got a crop sign, okay? So when you go on this crop sign, what you can see is you can crop to various different shapes. And what I did was I cropped to this shape over here. So it was a very specific shape that I cropped to, okay? So part of that image is now gone and it's a certain shape now. So then what I did was I then changed the background color, okay? So I clicked down here and you can change format background, and I clicked on format background, and what I did was I went to the gradient color, okay? And I went down here to gradient because I wanted a gradient to develop, okay? So I clicked here and I went down, and can you see down here, there's an eyedropper.
Can you please tell how did you do it?
Which one? Which bit did
the
you
one
do?
you did with the PowerPoint.
Yeah, so I'm showing you now. You mean the background?
Yes.
So can you see me doing this as I'm doing it, as I'm sharing?
Yes.
Yeah, so can you see that how I'm changing things? So what I did was I right clicked on my my mouse, and I went down to format background. Can you see format background here? Nabia? Yeah, Sirat, can you see it?
Yes.
Good. So if you click on format background, it brings you to this little box over here. And this toolbox at the side, if you click on gradient fill, it takes you, can you see these 4 different stoppers? So these 4 different stoppers allow you to build a gradient, okay? So if you click on the first stop, and what you do is, if you click on the color bit down here, and you scroll down, you can see something called an eyedropper. If you click on the eyedropper, and you go up to the image, the color that you want, can you see that I've gone up to the top corner on my image? To try and basically, what this eyedropper allows you to do, it allows you to actually select a color that you don't actually have in your palette. So I want to get this nice blue color that's in the actual image that I want to have as part of my background. So using the eyedropper, I can actually click on that color, and that changes that color to that nice gradient that I want, okay? So the next thing I want to do is I want to change that position of that, okay? So you can change the position, which means how far down that gradient travels. And I want to change the position to about 40% because that's how far down I want that blue color to go. And then I'm going to click on the second stop here. And I want to change the color of the second stop to this color here, this yellow color of the sand. So how do I do that? So again, if I click on the stopper and I go down to the color eyedropper, I can come back up here and I can click on that yellow color and it changes it to the yellow gradient. And again, I want that to go down to as far as 75% in position. So I click 75 here. Then I click on the third stopper, so this blue color, and again, I want to change that to a nice deep brown now. So again, I do the same. I go down to the eyedropper, and now I find the type of brown that I want to go. So maybe I want to go to this brown that's on this person's shoulder. So click on there, and it changes it to this dark brown color. And I want this to go far down as 90% down the picture. So it clicks it down to 90%, yeah? So can you see this gradient that's slowly developing? And
yes.
Yeah, and then finally, I click on this final bit, the final stopper, and this I want to go down as far as 100%, and I want that to be like a yellowy type of dark yellowy color. So again, I click on the eyedropper, and I want it to maybe be this color, or maybe this color. I can't quite decide. I'll maybe go for this color down here. So so basically that as far as 100%, okay? So it's changed the sort of the gradient down. Maybe I'll go for something a bit darker with that color. So maybe I'll go for this color, okay? So now I've got this nice gradient developed, okay? Now I want to blur the edges of this picture to make it merge into the background a bit more. So if I click back on the image, can you see I've clicked onto the image now? If I go up to format at the top over here, if I go to picture effects, yeah, so I click on picture effects, I can go down to this thing known as soft edges, And if I go to the very end one, it gives me the softest edge of 50 points. And that blurs that image into the actual gradient there. Okay, so I've softened the edges of that image now. So it fits in better, it merges into the gradient better now. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to start adding the writings. The first writing I want to add is the Eid Gadir writing. So I'm going to go back to.
Thank you very much.
That's okay. So I'm going to go back down to the writing now. So I want to insert a text box. So if I click on insert and I go across to the text box here, then that will allow me to start writing. Okay, so I want to write Eid Gadir. So I'm just going to write in whatever writing it allows me to at the moment. Eid Gadir. Mubarak. But you can see that that is a very small font at the moment. So I'm going to change it to a font that I like, that you don't necessarily like, but a font that I, you know, thought maybe is okay. And that font is this one down here called, begins with this one, Bernard Condensed. And I want to increase the size of that now. Okay, so when I increase the size of it, I'm going to increase the size of it to a nice big size of about 55. So you can change the size of the font up here to about 44, but you can actually type in 55. And you can see that that size is now the right size that I wanted it to be. Now I want it to be basically a certain style, don't I? I want the outside of that image to have a certain feature. And if you click on format again, click on your actual font and click on format, and you've got these word art styles. If I click on this bottom arrow of the word art styles, and I really like this one down here, and I click on there, what you'll find is it changes it and it kind of contrasts it better, so it's got a nice white border. Okay, so that's what we've done so far. So I've put that up here. Okay, and you can also use, you can see these guide tools that I've got out here. You can use these guide tools and you can set it up to, you know, certain positions so that you know that it's in the right location where you want it to be. So you can help them you can use them as guide tools to help position your writing to certain places. So I can use these guide tools to now move up this Eid Gadir text to where I want it to go. So I want it to go a bit higher up and a bit to the side. Okay. So next I want to do another word art. I want to do Dhul Hajj. So I'm going to do this one. I'm just going to copy it and paste it across just so that it's quicker. So if I copy that and paste it, but I'm not going to paste it in the script that the font that I wanted to do it in, just so that I can show you how I got to that font. So with this font, this time I chose a font called Harlow Solid Italic. Okay, so again, if you click on the writing and you go to home, you can go to the font toolbar and you can go down and you can find Harlow, begins with H. So you can find Harlow Solid Italic there. So I've clicked on that now and it's changed it to a certain sort of style, but I want that size to increase again. So again, I'll use this to increase it to about maybe 32. So that's fine. So I can bring that in a line. So if you can see, as I move this image, this writing around, it aligns it with the text. The guidelines allow it to get aligned correctly. Okay. So now I want to change.
Can you please email me this presentation on my email address? I'm going to send you in the chat.
Yeah, if I've got the email address, I can send you the link for it. You definitely can send you the link for it. Okay, so we've got the Dhul Hajj now, yeah? So now I've positioned it in the right bit. Now what I want to do is I also want to set it up to a certain style, don't I? Okay, So what I want to do is I want to change it to, if I go up to font again, so I click on the writing, I go up to format. And if I come down here again on the word style art bit, and that's this one I think that I like, the white one with the blue highlight around it. So I clicked on that and it's basically got the writing in the style that I wanted it to be, okay? Now the next thing I want to do is I want to add the Mankunto Mola for Hazan Aliyun Mola. Okay, so I can copy that across. But again, if I copy it across as just a normal text without me having changed the font, so that I can show you how I actually changed the font, okay? So what I did with this one is, again, I went up to the home tab and I went to down to the font, and this time I wanted to use Bernard Condensed.
Can you please send me these slides and my email address? I have sent my email address in the chat box.
Yeah, of course I can. Of course I can. I'll send you the links for the slides and also the link for the recording as well, inshallah. Okay, so now I've got this, but I also want to increase the size of this. Okay, so I want to increase it to about maybe 55 points again. Okay, so let's see what was the size of this one in this previous. So this one, I don't think it was as high as 55. It was 32. Okay, so let's increase it to 32. So go back here and click on it. As soon as you click on it, then you can make changes to it. So go up to home. You've got the right font. I want to change it to 32. So I've got Mankuntamola for Hazan written there. And now I want to change it to a certain color, okay? So the color I want it to go to is a nice blue color, okay? So if I click on the format box, I can go to fill the, can you see this little A here and text fill? That allows me to actually fill the color of the writing. So if I go down and if I go to fill more colors, because it's not quite got the color that I want, okay, I don't want it to be these bright blues, I want it to be custom blues. So if I click on the custom slide bit, it allows me to actually type in certain numbers that allow me to get at the color that I want. So the color that I want has 0 red, but it has about 80 green, and then it has about 140 blue. So can you see it's giving me this nice pretty blue color, and that's the color I want. So I'm going to click OK now, and it's going to change it to that color. Okay, now I want the outside of the thing to glow white. Okay, so I want this whole thing to shine a bright white color. So how I do that is, again, I click on to the Mankunto Mola for Hazan Aliyu Mola, and I go to, again, format. So again, you're using a lot of the format and the home and the insert here, okay? So go on to format, and if I go to text effects up here, I go down to something called glow, and I go down, you can see that it's gonna glow in lots of different colors. So that's blue, orange, a yellow color, another blue, a green, but I don't want it to be those colors. I want it to glow white. So I'm gonna go to more glow colors, and I'm gonna go across to white, and that's going to allow it to glow in this beautiful white color. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to now go change the writing for Aliyan Mola. Okay, so again, I've copied it across, but I'm going to copy it across as a normal text so that I can show you how I've got to those colors. So I've brought it down here. Okay, so I want to increase that to a 32 point, but again, I want it to be that this type of writing, the Harlow writing. So I've clicked on the writing, I've gone to home, and I've gone to the font, and I'm going to click the Harlow, and I'm going to click 32 so that it gives me nice big text. Okay, now the thing that I want here is I want the Aliyan Mola bit to be 32, but I don't want this peace be upon him bit to be like that. So I'm going to highlight just the peace be upon bit, and I'm going to go back to home font, and I'm going to change that to the Bernard condensed again, and I'm going to go down in size with that one. Okay, so I'm going to go down to maybe what size should I go to? Maybe 24. Okay, so go down to 24, and then if I click on this little, can you see this little arrow at the bottom of the font toolbar? If you click on this little arrow here, it takes you into the it pulls out a little box there for you, and in that box it allows you to superscript, so that will allow it to go slightly higher and to the right a bit. Okay, so if I superscript that and press OK, it's going to increase it up and it's going to superscript it for me. So that's exactly what I want it to look like now. But the only thing I don't want is I don't want that color. The color I want is it to be
Can you just explain that? How did you make a peace be upon him small?
Yeah, I can go through that again. So I can you see so I'm going to undo it, okay, so that I can repeat it for you. So can you see the large peace be upon him?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm gonna, can you see I've got my cursor and I'm gonna highlight just the peace be upon him bit. Yeah, can you see that?
Yes.
So highlighted just the peace be upon him, and then if I go up to home, if you click home at the top, and can you see this toolbar that says font?
Yes,
At the bottom of that toolbar, it's got a little arrow there. So in the bottom corner of that toolbar, it's got a little arrow. I'm going to click on that arrow and it brings out the font toolbar. So this is the font toolbar that's been pulled out for you now. And you can see here, if you did subscript, that would pull the writing down and to the right. If you do superscript, it's going to pull the writing up and smaller and to the right. Again, I want it to be up and to the right. So I click on superscript and then I click OK and it drags it up like that. Okay, so that's how I did that. Now the color I wanted it to be is
sorry, the time is getting very much because it's almost 12 o'clock in Pakistan.
Oh, sorry, are you from Pakistan? I didn't know that. Well, it's literally going to take another 5 minutes. So okay, if you can wait 5 minutes, then we can continue. But if not, then you can leave and I can continue recording it. And that way that it'll be in the recording. So when you access the recording, you'll still be able to see the end of it.
Can wait.
Okay, so if it gets too late for you, just hang up and then I can share the recording with you. Is that okay?
I can wait for 5 minutes.
Okay. So Ali and Mola, so now I'm going to go up and again I'm going to format to this blue color up here, or let me check what blue color I did. Was actually this one, fill, and this blue color, and then I did an outline in white. Okay, so that's how I got the Ali and Mola bit. And then finally, I want to bring in an image of the Quran, because I've got a Quran text. So I'm going to insert an image of the Quran. So insert pictures, and I've already got an image of the Quran saved on my computer. So this I found on the internet before. I'm going to bring that in. Now, can you see how this particular image has got a white background, so it doesn't really fit in with my color scheme? So what you can do is if you click on this image, and then again, you go up to format and you go across here, right to the left-hand side, it says remove background. If I click on remove background, it turns all the white bit pink. Now, if I click outside of that, can you see it's actually removed the whole background, the white background? So now you're left with, yeah, so now you're left with the nice image that fits in with what you wanted to do. And then finally, I'm just going to copy these across. So these were just written in a normal font, a Calibri font, but I basically got two of the quotes. So the quote from Mangunto Mola, Fahazan Aliyun Mola, I'm just going to click. And if I click here, I can have it similar to the source format. Okay, so the source format was where I copied it from. and I can drag it across. And for this one, I can do the same for the quote from the Quran. And I've put that next to the image of the Quran. And again, if I click on this little control button here, I can do keep source format, so it makes it look like what it looked like in the original source. Okay, so I can make it, drag it in a bit. And that's the poster. So that's the poster now that we've created that I made earlier on, but we've just created it together, okay? And the final thing, thank you so much for being so patient with me, is the feedback form, okay? So I'm gonna share the link for the feedback form again in the chat box, but you can,
Whenever I make a PowerPoint presentation, I made it so simple, and today I learned many things.
Did you learn a lot? I'm glad you learned a lot. That's made me very happy, because I'm glad, because I've used PowerPoint for quite a lot of my life, for the job I do. So I'm glad I've been able to share with you some things that you didn't know. But equally, I've learned a lot from you. Khair Mubarak to you too. Okay, so I'm going to share now in the chat box the link for the feedback form. Okay, so if you access the feedback form, you can.
You learn very much. Eid Mubarak.
Oh, Khair Mubarak, I'm glad you learned a lot. I'm glad. And if you've got any questions, you know, even after this, I'm sure if you contact MUS, they can contact me for you. So if you've got any questions about the presentation or anything like that, then please do contact me. And if there's anything else you want me to go through, I'm happy to do that for you, okay?
Please just share the presentation with me on my Gmail.
I will definitely share the presentation with you. So just to finish off then, so this is what we covered today. So just to finish off, can we, the last three of us that are remaining, can we recite the Dua Imam Zamana, so Dua Farij together, please? Okay, so let's end with the Dua. It's always good to end with the Dua. Okay, so Bismillah. So unmute your mics and then recite alongside me, please. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma kulli waliyaka
al-Hujjat ibn al-Hasan salawat
alayhi wa ala abai fi hazihi sa'at wa fi kulli sa'at waliyam wa hafizan wa qaisan wa nasiran wa zalilan wa aina
حتى تسكنه
زكاة
وتمتع فيها
سبيلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. Thank you so much for staying till the end. I will definitely share all of the information that you asked for. I'm making a copy of the chat so that I've got access to the emails that you've forwarded across to me. And I can send you the slides, inshallah, so you can watch that back in your own time, inshallah, and hopefully be able to replicate that. And please do have a go at making a poster presentation or a poster based on what you've learned today, okay? And inshallah, it'd be really good to see your posters next week. You know, if you use PowerPoint and you make a poster maybe on Eid al-Mubala, and inshallah I'll see you next Saturday. Okay, Jazakallah for taking part. I'm going to stop the recording here now. Khuda Hafiz, and it was lovely to meet you all.
I will make a poster on Eid al-Adha today because today is the Eid in Pakistan.
Oh, mashallah, yes, please do, and please share the poster with me next week. It'll be really, really nice to see what you've done, inshallah. Hafiz.
Inshallah.
Me too will share the poster.
Inshallah, please do, Nabiha and Sayyid Fatima. It'd be really nice to see both of your posters next week. I will see you next week, inshallah. Have a lovely Eid Gadir. Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Hafiz.